The first time I felt like I was being discriminated against, the first time the color of my skin was even in question was back in primary school. I was sitting with some kids and we were talking about Halloween and what we're gonna do is Halloween. And one of the kids said we should dress up like Kiss, and I said, oh yeah, Kiss, great idea. So somebody said I'll go as Paul Stanley, and somebody said I'll go as Peter Criss, and somebody said they'll be Ace Frehley, and I said okay, I'll be Gene Simmons. And one kid's like, well, wait a minute. And I said, what? I said, well, he said, you can't be Gene Simmons. And I said, why not? He said, because you're black. Gene Simmons is white. You can't do that. And I was like, well, hold on a second. If I put on the white makeup and I put the black in, I can be Gene Simmons. And I'm not going to tell you it destroyed my life. Of course not. It's my first moment where the color of my skin was called into question, at least that I can remember. And you know what? I think it probably did a lot for me in the sense that it really shaped the way I think now. Because from that moment on, nobody's going to tell me what I can and cannot do because of the color of my skin. I've done probably more to buck that stereotype than most people. But that is my life. It's hard. It's hard to talk about racism. It's hard to confront it. And confronting it is really what I want to talk about as I post this video. It's been a very, very difficult 10 or 11 days. And listen, this goes much further than George Floyd, rest in peace, maybe rest in peace. This has happened several times, sometimes on camera, sometimes not on camera. But we are at this moment, and we have the backdrop of a pandemic, and there is no better time than now. At first I thought, oh my God, this is terrible. What's going to happen here? And you see the footage from the States and you see various things that are happening. You say, oh my God, this is a powder keg. It's always been a powder keg. That's nothing different. But now, because people don't have the distractions of sports and live music and other things, it's front and center, which is ultimately a good thing. What's happening now is global, which I think is very, very important. I am encouraged by what I am seeing. I have faith that we will make significant strides in the next little while. But it's going to take us all pulling on the same rope. I'm encouraged by hockey players in particular. Blake Wheeler, captain of the Jets. Logan Couture coming out in support of Evander Kane and talking about racism. Jonathan Toews, captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, stepping up and talking about it. Braden Holtby, goalie, Stanley Cup champion, Washington Capitals, talking about this. Zdeno Chara, captain of the Boston Bruins, marching in Boston today. The one and only time I will support a Bruin doing anything. You know my Habs guy. But anyway, let me stay on point here. It's important. Quincy Jones was featured in an article a couple of years ago, and he said the one thing that bums him out still throughout all his life is racism. And he said things would be so much better without racism. And look, he's a living example of it. He's worked with everybody. And music has allowed him to sort of, and it for me, myself too. I mean, I work with a lot of people too. My band, Italian and Portuguese, and me, a Guyanese, and we make great music, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud of that. I'm proud of the diversity I have in my life, and I can't imagine not having that diversity for one reason or another. But one of the things he said in the article was that he said quite bluntly, it's going to take white people to say to other white people, "Is this really how you want to live? Is this really how you want to conduct yourself?" And that is absolutely true. So that's why when I see these athletes that are white speaking up and talking about this and saying, hey, listen, we have to change this. Enough's enough. I'm very encouraged. I wanted to say as well that I really appreciate people putting up the black squares on their Instagram feeds and social media and everything, but it's going to take more. And to Quincy's point, I think it means that we have to confront people that we've known that are racist in our lives. Especially white people. I hate to say it, but it's true. You have to talk to your uncle. You're going to have to talk to your cousin who doesn't like that you're dating a black guy or a Chinese guy or an Indian guy. You're going to have to talk to your coworker. That's what it's going to take. And I know this is ingrained deep No, it could be something, it could be, in the States, obviously, we're talking about a history that's based on slavery and oppression, whether it be slavery, whether it be segregation. But if you remember correctly, it took Abraham Lincoln, a white man, stand up and say, no more slavery. And that's what I'm talking about here. That's what's needed. I want to say as well that I've gotten some text. I have a very diverse group of friends and colleagues, and I've got some texts from people asking me how I'm doing and checking in. And I wanted to talk about one text that I got because I think it's something to consider. My friend, I won't mention his name, but he texted me and he said he just felt so bad about everything. And I appreciate that. I understand that. But I'm not looking at him and blaming him for anything. He's been my friend. He supported me. I've never seen anything racist come from him whatsoever. But I think that guilt is very much a part of this. And I'm here to say, don't let it be. You can't speak for your ancestors or anybody. None of us can speak for our ancestors. All of our ancestors probably did something bad somewhere along the line. Some more than others, yes, but we're here now. And that's what I'm saying. We're here now, and we need to push this forward. So let go of the guilt, and let's talk. Let's just talk. Let's talk about these things. We've done such a great job in our world with talking about gay and lesbian rights and moving that cause forward and becoming much more open about those conversations and, quite frankly, open about tolerance. We've done such a great job talking about mental health awareness, and it's very important, especially now with this pandemic going on. It's very important. Now we are here talking about anti-Black racism and social injustice, and we need to push this forward. I have to tell you, I have no interest in going back to a post-pandemic world that's the same as before, for a lot of reasons. Black lives matter, the future matters, the planet matters, our health matters, and that's all tied into us getting along much better. So, to sum up, we have to keep pushing, we have to keep fighting. I'm encouraged, but we have to do more together. That's it. I know that I don't talk about this stuff often. I hate talking about it, to be honest with you. I'm uncomfortable talking about it, but I just felt that I had to say something. So here it is. You can't always promote your gigs. Plus there are none. Okay, peace.